Hello, 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 everybody. My name is Dutchess, and this is Dutchess Discussions, where we talk about true crime and missing cases. And today we have a case that we're going to be discussing, and it is the case of missing Khaleesi Cuthriell. Is that right, Erin? Did I say that right?
Yes, ma'am, I think so.
Okay. And my special guest that I have today on panel is Erin Landes, and she is here with us today because she is a local from the Virginia area where Khaleesi went missing. So thank you, Erin, for being here. And we also have Arctic Fox as a special guest. He has done a couple of videos about Khaleesi when she first went missing, and he's also recently done another video to kind of bring us up to speed where we are in this case. So I want to welcome Arctic and Erin to the panel tonight.
Hey, Dutchie, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. And hello, chat. How is everybody doing this evening? We got Michelle Macklin in the house, one of our awesome mods, and she's also on my research team and a member. And we got Elizabeth Lander. Hey, Elizabeth. She is a wonderful member and a good friend. I hope you're doing good, Elizabeth. Thanks for being here. And of course, we have Arctic and we have Erin. Blessings to all. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad you're here. And Nightbot is present and accounted for. So if you're watching this video on replay or if you're currently in the live chat, please go over and hit that like button and share this video so we can keep Khaleesi Cuthriell's face circulating on social media because she has not been found. So we're going to get into the story of Khaleesi Cuthriell now. Um, where to even begin? I think the best place that we could probably start um, is to go over the Charlie Project because she is listed on the Charlie Project. And I'm just going to share that real quickly so we can just find out a little bit of information about this case. And what I came up with is that Khaleesi has been missing for almost 2 years. February the 1st of 2021, she went missing from Waynesboro, Virginia, and that is in Augusta County, guys. And she is classified as endangered missing. She is a white female. She went missing when she was 3 years old. She is four now. She was 3 feet 1 inches tall and weighed 40 pounds at the time of her disappearance. She has blonde hair and blue eyes. And here you can see some pictures of Khaleesi. Now, also in these pictures, you will see Travis Brown and Candi Royer. And these are not her parents. This, these two people were actually given the custody of Khaleesi when the mother went to jail. And then some things happened, guys. It says here that she was not reported missing until September of 2021. That is, I just can't even get over that. Khaleesi's mother, Amanda Arey, had placed her daughter in Royer's care in October of 2020 while she was incarcerated in Middle River Regional Jail. Royer, Candi Royer, was reported missing on September 3rd and was believed to be with her boyfriend Travis Brown, who had been a fugitive, wanted by police in 5 different jurisdictions since August 21st. And he had 14 charges against him, in which I have seen, and it's a lot, guys, including strangulation, grand larceny, and assault and battery of a family member, among other offenses. That's a lot. I later found out, in which Erin will speak on this, that Royer also had some previous charges. And I don't know that that's talked about here on the Charlie Project. They were arrested, and by the time that the mom found out that Candi Royer was missing, she told jail authorities that Royer had her child, and by this time, Royer had stopped communicating with her in jail, and the mother had not seen her or heard from Brown in months and was concerned about her daughter's safety. So the mother had been told that Candi Royer placed Khaleesi with the child's maternal grandmother or aunt in the Covington, Virginia area, but that was untrue. So in September, which was September 12th, Royer and Brown were located in Pennsylvania and arrested. They did not have Khaleesi. This is horrible. Now, it looks like Candi was charged with abuse and neglect of a child resulting in serious injury. And Brown wasn't charged directly in Khaleesi's disappearance, but was held on other unrelated charges. And little over a week later, the police announced that Khaleesi was deceased and that she had passed away while in the couple's care at Candi Royer's home on the 200 block of Cattleskills Road in Waynesboro, Virginia. Now, in May of 2022, Candi Royer and Travis Brown were indicted for Khaleesi's murder, and each were charged with aggravated murder, felony murder, unlawfully concealing a dead body, conspiracy to commit aggravated murder, conspiracy to commit child abuse, and conspiracy to conceal a dead body. Brown was also charged with child abuse and neglect resulting in serious injury, and they are awaiting trial in May and August, respectively. And Khaleesi's body has never been located, but obviously foul play is suspected due to the circumstances that are involved. Erin, take us back to how you became involved with this case.
I remember first seeing when they announced that Candi was missing, and then on September 8th of 2021, they came out and said that Khaleesi was in her care and she was missing as well. It just really touched my heart, and I just felt like I couldn't pretend like it didn't happen, and I needed to try to do anything I could to spread her story. So then in December of 2021, me and a couple ladies from our community had started trying to plan different little events. And so we decided to kind of combine everything into a Facebook group where we've had little birthday celebrations for. We did a bake sale to raise money for banners to put out in our community. There was a spaghetti dinner, and the funds from the spaghetti dinner was turned into the sheriff's office for a memorial fund that someone started there. We also did silicone bracelets and decals and sold those in memory of her. And the funds that we raised with that, we were able to complete 15 journey bags and turn into foster care love ministries in Waynesboro in her honor.
That is wonderful, Erin. God bless you for doing all of those things. That is absolutely amazing. Now, I understand that you have a Facebook group, and I want to jump over here real quick and stop sharing that because I want to pull up this Facebook group and share that. And I do believe the mods have shared that in the chat. Thank you so much, moderators, for sharing that link. If you guys are interested in following this story, please go over and join Erin's group, which is Justice for Khaleesi Hope Cuthriell. Please go over and join that group discussion. She has a lot of good things going on over in this group, and I encourage you guys to go over there and give her some support. I'm going to pull that group up now so that I can. Do you mind if I share your page?
No, that's fine.
With the chat, because I would really like for everyone to just take a look at that so you guys can see what we have going on over here. This is the Justice for Khaleesi group right here. So please go over and support Erin and all that they are doing for this child. It is so important to have closure in a case like this. Don't you think so, Arctic?
Yes, ma'am. Because, I mean, even if the worst is true and this child is in fact deceased, we need to give her a proper memorial, a proper burial with dignity.
Exactly. The community, if the parent, now I do understand that the mom and the dad are not together. Erin, what can you tell me about the mom? Is she still incarcerated?
Um, to my knowledge, she's been released from rehab May of last year.
Okay, and
And
is
I,
she living in the area?
not to my knowledge, no.
Okay, and the father, how about the father? Is he still living in the area?
I think he is still in the area, yes.
But these parents are not speaking out about justice for their child?
I have not seen anything with them in the news. I know when we first started doing some events, we would invite her dad. Um, they're on social media as well. So, they see our stuff that we're doing, but it hasn't resulted in anything.
Wow. This is just it's a sad case. And I just have to wonder, like, if they have been charged with these heinous crimes. I mean, and these are some heinous charges, guys. I mean, here we have the hearing that talks about, I guess, this preliminary hearing that happened. I know that um, we talked about this earlier, Erin. Candi's hearing is going to be May 9th, did you say?
It starts May the 8th.
May the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's a
Tell us a
5-day
little
trial.
bit about the walk that you're having for Justice for Khaleesi. Tell us a little bit about that.
I was just trying to figure out something else to do in the community to, keep her out there. And I just thought to do the walk on May the 6th. And then 2 days later, the trial starts for Candi. So I thought it would be a good way to honor her and let the community know that we're still standing behind her.
I love that so much. I want to go over here and look to see.
And we'll also do a walk in August. I think the 28th is when Travis's trial starts. And then we're going to do one on the 26th as well.
I think it's wonderful. It's so important for this child to be able to come home, guys. It's so important. I just want to know why they haven't given law enforcement any information. Do they plan on pleading not guilty to these charges? Because surely there must be some evidence if they know the child is deceased. I mean, these are some pretty heinous charges.
I think maybe they have it in their head that if she's not found, they can't be charged with it, maybe.
They're in for a rude awakening, I have a feeling.
She was in the care of Candi. So Amanda handed her over in October of 2020. And December, 3 months later, there were pictures posted on social media that showed Khaleesi, but she looked like a completely different child. She looked like she was starved. It looked like she had burn marks on her ears and her foot.
Oh my gosh.
So in 3 months' time, it took these people to completely destroy this child.
That breaks my heart.
Very sad. And, you see, because of course, when something like that happens, you start looking on people's social media accounts. People were liking those photos and commenting under them. Did they not see that something was seriously wrong with her? Did they not see that Khaleesi needed help?
Here is the walk for justice. that Erin has planned at Gypsy Hill Park. This is on Saturday, May the 6th at 2023 at 1 p.m. And this is the area where that's going to take place right here in Staunton, Virginia. So if you are interested and you live locally in Virginia and you would like to go out and support this cause and support uh, the community in bringing Khaleesi Cuthriell home, I encourage you to please do that. Please participate. And when this happens, please let me know if you want to come up and share pictures and or video or anything from that. Like, you're more than welcome to do so. Please feel free to reach out.
Thank
If
you.
I can be there, I will definitely come. If I
Thank
can,
you.
if I'm free at that time to be there. I don't know what my schedule is that far ahead, but I can, see if I'm able to work it out, and I would be happy to come and walk for Khaleesi.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I think that Arctic did a great video that kind of surmised a lot of this information. And I encourage you guys to go over there and watch those videos. Arctic, do you want us to play the updated video on Khaleesi to kind of summarize everything that's happened?
Absolutely. I don't have a
Okay.
problem with that at all.
Okay. Let me go over and see if I can grab that video up. Give me just a second. Let's see here. So, how many people in the chat have heard about this story? I'm curious. Oh, and you know what? Real quick, before we jump into that, we have an Amber Alert out of Texas. And I was going to talk about that, and then I didn't. So we're gonna let's talk about the Amber Alert real quick because it just happened like an hour ago. So real quick, I want you guys to just take a quick look at this Amber Alert, so we can make sure that we get this video out there so that this child can possibly be brought home safely. Arctic, can we play your Amber Alert video? When I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
saw
We
it
never
on your
get
page,
that.
I just reminded myself my ADHD's kicking in. Oh, bear with me, y'all. Bear
What?
with me. I know it's a lot. Please bear with me, but this is really important that we see this Amber Alert. So I'm going to share this. If you can mute out, Erin, do you see the mute button? If you can mute yourself so it doesn't echo in the chat, that
Yes,
would be
ma'am.
excellent. And Arctic, you know what to do. So we're going to get into it. Hang on one second. And by the way, thank you everybody that I have not said hello to in the chat. I'm so thankful for you being here to listen to the case of missing Khaleesi Cuthriell. And if you could go over and smash the like and share this video, I would be so grateful. So we're going to get into it right now. Could you guys hear that at all? Or am I having a StreamYard situation? Hey, Xena with Fire. Thank you for being here. Tell me in the chat, can you guys hear that video? Were you able to see it, or was I having a StreamYard situation? You lost me? Hey, PJ. Thank you for being here, darling. Nobody could hear it or see it? Arctic, are you still there? I'm going to try it again.
It did not play at all for the chat.
Okay. I was like, what is going on with my StreamYard? It's been acting wonky lately. I'm going to have to holy water activate, holy water activate, holy water activate. Okay. Now everything should be good now. So let's try it again. Good gravy. Okay. All right. Now listen, chat. Y'all got to tell me if y'all can see and hear this. Can y'all see my screen?
Yeah, it's up there now.
Okay. All right. Because this is important. This is a little baby. We got to get this face out there. Like. All right. Here we go, guys.
What is going on, YouTube? This is Arctic Fox. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a breaking Amber Alert out of Kemp, Texas, for a 15-week-old little boy named Xavier Khaleesi. This just came across my phone about an hour ago, so I wanted to bring it to you as quickly as possible. What we know is that at approximately 9:23 a.m. this morning, the Kemp, Texas Police Department was notified of a possible abduction of an infant child. Officers were called to a local domestic violence shelter that houses abused or recovering mothers and their children. The shelter is utilized by organizations throughout the state of Texas as well as the nation. Officers learned that an adult female that arrived at the shelter on Sunday with her 15-week-old son left with the infant at approximately 7:05 p.m. last night. While the mother is allowed to come and go from the shelter, the infant was under the custody of Child Protective Services of the state of Texas and was court ordered to remain at the shelter with his mother. The mother is now wanted for questioning on a charge of interfering with child custody. The female was seen leaving the shelter at around the same time a vehicle's headlights were seen pulling up to the shelter. Unfortunately, we do not have a description of the vehicle at this time. The 15-week-old son is on prescription medication that must be taken with formula, and the medication as well as the formula were left behind. Mother is identified as Abigail Margaret Williams, and the infant is identified as Xavier Khaleesi Jr. It is unknown if the biological father, who's from North Carolina that has ties to Smith County and the Dallas, Texas area, has any connection to the interfering with a child custody incident. The incident is under investigation, and an Amber Alert has been issued by the Kemp, Texas Police Department with assistance from the Kaufman County Sheriff's Office and the Texas Rangers. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of 15-year-old Xavier Khaleesi is asked to contact the Kemp Police Department. Please call the Kaufman County Sheriff's Office at 469-376-4598 and ask to speak with a Kemp Police Department officer. We need to get this little baby's face out there as quick as we can, guys. This infant is in danger, is not supposed to be in the custody of the mother without that mother being at this shelter. The mother has absconded with the child and left the child's medication and formula behind. Why the infant wasn't simply just taken out of the custody of the mother altogether, I do not know. Sounds like another failure of Child Protective Services. Any mother that would just take off the child and leave its medicine behind. Guys, I'm tired of seeing these failures every day. So do me a huge favor. This is an active Amber Alert. Let's get Xavier's face out there on social media as quickly as we can, guys, and let's bring this little baby home.
Y'all go over. Y'all go over and sub up to Arctic Fox and share that video out so we can get Xavier's face passed around social media. maybe somebody will see or recognize the mom or him and see them somewhere. Please, guys, if you're not subbed up to Arctic Fox, you need to be. If you want all the latest updates on missing kids and all the guts of the information, that's where you need to go. So make sure that you're subbed up to Arctic. And please, please, please share that Amber Alert out. So I wanted to make sure that I shared that with you guys because that's active right now. And that's not been just over an hour or so ago. So please, please, please share that out. Now, Arctic, you did do a video on Khaleesi, and
Yes,
that was just yesterday, right?
yes, ma'am. Last one I put out yesterday.
And he puts out a lot, guys. Oh, here we go, right here. I see it. Okay. Sharing my audio, guys. Hey, Kim. I just want to say that the technical difficulty is me, PJ. The technical difficulty is me.
What is going on, YouTube? If this is Arctic Fox, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to revisit a case that I've previously covered over on this channel, and that is the case of Khaleesi Hope. And the reason why I'm revisiting the case is that nobody seems to really be looking for this little girl, except for a couple of local advocates in her community that she went missing from. But even her biological family seems to just not really be that interested in looking for her. And law enforcement's not making a huge effort to try to find her either. She is presumed dead, but even if that's the case, we need to find her remains. We need to give her a proper memorial. We need to give her the dignity of a proper burial and resting place. So I want to go over her case again. I want to revisit it and just go over the details. So as I said, 3-year-old Khaleesi Hope would be 5 years old today. And it's been almost 2 years since she went missing. The couple that was caring for her, they face a litany of charges. And I'll go over the charges that they're facing right now. They are facing charges of aggravated murder, felony murder, unlawfully concealing a dead body, conspire to commit aggravated murder, conspire to commit child abuse, conspire to conceal a dead body, child abuse or neglect, serious injury. I mean, there's a lot of charges that this couple is facing right now. And I hope they're prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And I'll show their pictures here in a minute. The couple's name is Candi Royer and Travis Brown. And let me tell you guys, they look like they are straight out of Meth Head University. I'll show their pictures here momentarily. But I want to go over the details of the case. And, you know, we need to shine a new light on this. And we need to light a new fire under law enforcement to go out there and find this little girl's remains and put her to rest in a proper manner. There are a great many unknowns in the heartbreaking case of Khaleesi. She was a sweet-faced toddler with wispy blonde hair and a shy smile, and her mother went to jail for a probation violation. And yet, there are sobering details in the 3-year-old's disturbing odyssey. And again, should be 5 years old now. And this all happened since her mom went behind bars. No one has seen the child in almost 2 years. The local sheriff investigating her disappearance says that she's almost certainly dead, but yet we still have not found a body. Now, the sheriff says that they've searched the home and surrounding property where Khaleesi last lived, and they did bring in cadaver dogs and rescue parties, but so far there's been no trace of Khaleesi found. The little girl was reported missing in September by her incarcerated mother, Amanda Arey, who told guards and then the sheriff that she had entrusted her daughter's care to a friend named Candi Royer. and she had just seen news reports on the prison television that Royer had been reported missing the day before. Arey said that she had been afraid for months because she couldn't reach her friend or the woman's boyfriend, Travis Brown, both of whom had been looking over the little girl. The mother was talking to Royer and Brown from the jail, and then they just stopped communicating with her. They stopped taking her calls and stopped taking text messages. Everything just went black. So the sheriff did open an investigation on September the 4th of 2021, the day after he spoke with Khaleesi's mom. He quickly learned that Khaleesi's family had not seen the child since the previous January. Relatives said that they had been told a succession of stories from Royer, including that Khaleesi had gone to stay with her grandmother and then an aunt, and finally that Khaleesi had been picked up by social workers from Virginia's Child Protective Services. However, none of those statements were true. After entering Royer's information into law enforcement databases, the sheriff learned that Royer was not missing. She was, in fact, with her deadbeat boyfriend, and both were wanted for a series of crimes, including stealing a car, passing bad checks, and also drug-related offenses. The couple had been arrested at a motel on September the 12th by state police and members of the U.S. Marshals Service. Methamphetamine and drug paraphernalia and stolen checks were found in the room, but Khaleesi was nowhere to be found. The sheriff filed felony child abuse charges against Brown and Royer that month, and then traveled to Pennsylvania several times to interview them as part of his investigation into Khaleesi's disappearance. They agreed to meet without any attorneys present because they're no strangers to the system. Of course, it is an active investigation, and law enforcement can't divulge many details from those conversations. But what the sheriff was able to say is that there's no doubt in his mind that Khaleesi is deceased, and that she died at the address where Royer and Brown resided.
I just want to stop there for a minute. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what we've heard so far. Erin, what are your thoughts about what the police have said on this case, that they feel convinced that they're responsible?
I think with the pictures that was released of Khaleesi at Christmas, seeing the severe neglect and then finding some kind of evidence in that house,
Yeah.
I don't think could be anybody else that could have done anything.
I just feel like there is some type of evidence.
They had to have found something in the house.
Absolutely, for them to be dead certain that that is where she was killed. Not only that she's dead, but she died inside that house.
Oh, and since then, that house has been gutted, remodeled, and sold.
Wow.
The house was owned. I can't remember if it was Candi's family or Travis's family, but one of the families owned that property.
Obviously, in my opinion, I feel, and this is my opinion, this is Dutchy thoughts, but I also feel that the mother who left Khaleesi in the care of these two people should be charged as well, because she made the decision to leave her in the care of these people that harmed her and ultimately caused her death. And that's kind of how I felt about the Quentin Simon case. When you make decisions and you're in charge of that child's well-being, you're a parent or a grandparent or a family member, and you're not doing what you need to be doing to make sure the child's safety is first. That's a problem. And she needs to be held accountable for what she's done as well.
I feel like at the end of the day, everybody had a choice. Everybody decided what was going to happen. And Khaleesi's the one that didn't have a choice and suffered from it.
Hey,
So I think
seriously, Kristen.
everybody needs to be held responsible.
Absolutely. It's a chain of events that took place
Yes.
and has caused this child to lose her life in such a horrific way.
She's
To
the only
not
one that
hold
didn't
the
have a
mother
choice.
accountable is a serious flaw in the system, because
And,
she ultimately made that decision to put her child there. And the mother and Candi knew each other from jail. Is that correct?
I think that's what the rumor was. Yes.
they
So
did meth together. They were methed up buddies, is what it was. And I get what you're saying about holding the mom accountable, and I agree with you. But I also get that this mom was in between a rock and a hard place, that she didn't want her kid going into the system either,
that's
because
right.
look how many situations where that turns out bad. But I do firmly believe that she needs to be held accountable.
I believe that too. It's just there needs to be, yes, Kim, there needs to be better solutions for what's going on. And I feel like that a large part of the problem, just from us covering these cases in Virginia, and I was explaining this to Erin earlier, how, you and I've talked about this, Arctic. We got 600 missing kids one day, 500 missing kids in the state of Virginia. And then we find out that these kids were actually found safe, but then they have their missing posters up 10 months later on NCMEC. And I have to call all the law enforcement office to find out why they haven't taken it down, because it still looks like it's an active case.
Yeah.
And this is another case in Virginia. I'm like, what is going on in Virginia?
There is a clear problem with the communication of law enforcement with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, with NamUs, and
Yes,
there's been so many issues where these police officers that are supposed to be out there looking for these kids don't even have a picture of the child that they can pull up on their cruise.
that part. Yes. When we looked at those cases, remember how many kids I showed under the age of 13? I think there was probably 30 kids missing under the age of 13, and I think 6 had pictures.
Yeah, it's absolutely
And I'm
ridiculous.
like, how are we supposed to look for the child if we don't even know what the child looks like? That is, I can't even figure that out. And I did make another phone call to Nick Mick about a couple of other cases. And you know what? Those kids were found safe too. And
But
I
you
said,
can't
this is a
fault Nick
problem.
Nick. Yeah, I mean, it's not Nick Nick's fault.
No,
They have so many cases they're dealing with, and unless law enforcement contacts them to say, "Hey, this child's been found," there's no way they'd ever be able to
that's
keep.
right. That's right. That's the only way. And then when I asked them about it, they said, well, the law enforcement agencies, they send us the information, which is how we know how to put it out. So the only way we know if they're found safe is if the law enforcement agency sends that data. They have a particular system that it goes through. They have to send the information to call it off.
Yeah.
They don't just make decisions themselves. It's a warehouse of information. And that's a problematic thing that's happening in the state of Virginia. And I also am concerned about the CPS situation they have up there, because they have an extensive amount of runaways and foster kids that are
Yeah.
trying to escape horrible situations, because apparently the foster care system something's going on with that. It's yeah, and seriously, Kristen, is I mean, there needs to be better communication between Ellie and child welfare departments and the national centers. Yeah, because how can we effectively get out these cases accurately if the people who are actually investigating these cases are not even keeping up with the cases? That should tell you that we're paying more attention than they are. And that
Well,
is
I am
concerned.
glad that we're talking about CPS and their failures, and because it's not just Virginia, it's a nationwide issue.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
Yes.
We have a
one
lot
of
of
the
issues
things,
here in my own state, just like this.
well, what I am trying to get everyone to do, and I made a video on it over on my channel, but the second Sunday in June is National Children's Day. And I would love to have a nationwide peaceful demonstration outside of every CPS, DCFYS, DHS office across this nation. Not anything like what some creators do. All I want is people out there with poster boards that have pictures of all the children that have been failed by this system out
Oh
in
my
front of every
Yes.
goodness.
CPS office.
I love that. I love that. We should we should talk about that.
Absolutely.
About getting creators and people together that are willing to, because I mean, how else are we going to take a stand against things like that? Oh, look, seriously, Kristen, ex CPS. I've worked with CPS. I went to school to be a social worker. And you know what? I didn't finish my master's because after I did my internship and all of that, I was like, this is not for me. I'll go back to nursing. And that's what I did. Because after the things that I seen in South Carolina, I was like, this is above my pay grade. I'm not having some woman come in and like throw stuff off my I mean, I saw some things that just blew my mind, and I knew that it would I would have to have a prescription for some definite anti-anxiety medication to have that job. It was not going to be something that I could do effectively and keep my job. I could do it effectively, but I don't know that they would keep me because I'd probably lose it. So I just went back to nursing because that's just as difficult. But I was going to have to take a pay cut. So
Well, and
I
that's the
admire you,
thing,
Kristen. I admire you for what you do because
I
it is difficult.
I don't blame the CPS workers per se, except for in a few of the cases. What I do blame is that the system is broken. These CPS workers are underpaid and they're overworked. They've got
They
caseloads
certainly are.
stacked
That
up.
is preach it. That is truth. I've got a couple friends that work for CPS actively in North Carolina, and God bless them. I pray for them because I tell you what, I mean, they are very stressed out people. And a lot of times they are fighting their own system because the things that they need to do or that they need to accomplish, their own system holds them back from making the decisions that they feel are in their best interest because they have all these guidelines and things we can't do this, we can't do that when they know their situations.
And the
And
thing
see, look,
is,
Kristen left in 2013. She gets it.
well, do you know that the majority of the rules and regulations
Bless
that
your heart.
govern the CPS system have not been really updated and modernized since the 1960s? So we're
Yeah,
sitting here dealing with a system that dates back 50 years and trying to make it work in 2023, and it doesn't work.
yeah, it's something that has to stay evolving. It's a system that has to stay evolving with the times because as situations evolve and you have this continuation of people that are doing the same, if what is happening is not effective in deterring people from the actions that they are carrying out involving their children, then that means that something needs to be changed in order to make it more effective.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
not happened. It's the same principle, Arctic, that we've talked about with this Amber Alert.
Yep.
And that's why you created the petition to sign to standardize the U.S. Amber Alert system, because I feel like it works, but then it's also broken because there's a lot of kids that get missed. There's a lot of kids that may not qualify because they weren't abducted, but they are critically missing. They are critically endangered missing, but they don't get an Amber Alert. And we've discussed many times how the first 24 to 48 hours, when a kid goes missing, like every minute counts. Every
Exactly.
minute counts. So to not put out an alert for a young child that is critically missing, that may have a medical issue, that may be autistic, just because they're not abducted. Now you can miss me with that, because that is not fair across the board, and there needs to
You want
be
to
some
talk
type
about
of.
not fair? There's a young African American girl, 16 years old, missing out of California right now. She's been missing for a month, and she had been texting with her boyfriend before she went missing, and they will not even put out an endangered child alert, much less an Amber Alert for this little girl, because they say she doesn't qualify.
Wow. Sassy says, where I live, CPS leaves children in abused drug homes, but I've seen them take them out of loving, well cared homes. Yeah, I've seen that too. I've seen things that just make me go home and hug my child and say, and just cry. Because when I worked in psychiatric medicine, I had to see a lot of children that came in that were abused. And then I had to work in drug clinic where I saw a lot of parents that were abusing kids. And I felt like they needed to be under the jail. So
Yeah.
I would tell the doctor, I'm like, I have to leave the room right now, because if I don't, I'm going to have to do karate and jujitsu and 3 other Chinese things with my hands before I leave the room. So I'm going to just excuse myself, because if I don't, I'm going to chew my bottom lip off being in this room with this person. I'm not the one. Elizabeth, I know Elizabeth has worked in the system also, and she worked with 2 populations that won lawsuits in North Carolina because they were underserved. Yeah,
Well,
there's
and they're either taking them out of good homes and putting them in bad homes, or they finally find a loving couple that's showing them love and attention for the first time, like what happened in Oakley Carlson's case. And their instinct is to always reunite them with the very people that abused them and tortured them their whole lives, which we've got to stop doing that. That's not always the answer. It's not always, oh, let's put you back in the hands of your abuser.
right. Hey, Princess Mariposa, Dutchie, have you ever watched Amber's story, The Girl Behind the Amber Alert, on Peacock? I never knew her story. I do know the story, but I have never seen that on Peacock, and I will have to go watch that. That is very interesting. I did not know they had a special on Peacock about that, but I do want to check that out. But I do know the story, and I think that's very interesting. Maybe I'll have to stream that sometime. Um, if you're in my Discord, my members, I'm just trying to get all the things situated where I can do some streaming. So, members, if you're interested in seeing something like that, maybe we can all get together and watch that together collectively one day. I've got to take a break after this live stream because I'm having a procedure on Monday at the hospital. So I won't be around for a few days live. So maybe at the end of next week, I'll be feeling better and we can, cover some more cases. But in the interim, maybe we can watch that Amber story on Peacock. That would be really awesome. Thank you for telling me about that, Princess. I hope you're doing okay. Thank you for being here, Bree. I don't think I've ever seen you here before. She said this happened in my area. I'm so thankful to finally see her getting the attention she deserves. Thankful Erin and the other ladies started the group. Yes, we are thankful. We are thankful. And thank you for being here, Bree. And I appreciate you coming over. And um, I'm so sorry that this has happened in your community for you and Erin, because it's a scary thing when you have someone in your community go missing, especially a little child, and nobody has found the child. Oh goodness, Sassy, I'm so sorry. I've got you on my prayer list already, so I'm gonna have to add that on the part of the prayer list. When evil entered, thank you so much for being here. Yes, and when evil entered said, it's sad. More should be done for the children. They are the future. Amen to that. Absolutely. Thank you. Blessings to all. I appreciate that. So, Erin, I know you were telling us a little bit about Amber had some previous charges, but I think you said they had been removed. Is that correct?
Well, I think at one point in time she was in 98. The offense was abduction and malicious body injury
Thank you, Bree. Okay.
is some of
That
her old
is,
offenses.
wow. And they
Drug
removed that
yeah.
off of her record?
Let me see for 100% because I'm not.
Did you guys hear what she just said? Say that again for the ones in the back.
Okay,
This is from 1998, guys. The for Candi Royer.
where it says, like, if you look up records and it says status, I'm not really for sure what this word, how you even pronounce this word. So I looked it up to understand what it is talking about. But it says, we do not prosecute it's spelled NOLLE and then space PRSEQUI. So I looked it up and that's what it said. We shall no longer prosecute. So that was the status. It doesn't say guilty. It just says we shall not.
Interesting. And this
I
was,
just found that. So I
and
don't.
tell us what those charges were again.
November 17, 1998. It was for a offense description, abduction, and then malicious bodily injury.
Yeah, the nolle prosequi, basically that is where it means that the entry of this charge by the prosecuting officer, that means that indicates that the prosecuting officer has decided to not prosecute the case. So like if the state was versing her in this case, that means the court has held all the proceedings following the entry of this are void because the indictment is no longer valid.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's concerning. They thought this was no longer valid, and now these people are guilty of hurting a child. That's considered no longer alive. I wonder how pertinent they think it is now that this case isn't valid. Yeah, exactly. Oh, good Lord. That's what I'm thinking. See, this is where it gets me messed up, and then I get in my feelings because this doesn't make any sense to me. People will show you who they are. Some people are capable of change. I've seen it all the time. I have very good friends that have been part of in the addiction. They have been in through trauma, and they come out on the other side. But then there's just people that are not good people, period. Regardless of what they're doing, they don't change the behaviors. They just continue to show who they are. And they hurt people. And it makes me sad. Like my neighbor, my brother next door, his great niece was violently abused. And her father went to jail, but he didn't really go to jail per se. He went to this rehab jail facility. And then basically, after he finished that, he got out and was on probation. And before he completed probation in Mooresville, North Carolina, he he got another girl pregnant and slammed that baby up against a wall, and she died. His great niece's half sister, and she died. And they haven't even charged him with murder. They've already postponed his trial 5 times in Iredell County. And all they've got him is for felony child abuse. This is where I get emotional. Because like what is happening? When are these children going to get real justice? Are we just going to keep letting these people back out onto the streets to continue to hurt kids? How many times does it take? Why is he not getting charged with murder? She's no longer alive because of what he did. And it was not an accident. People will show you who they are. I just think they go too easy sometimes. They just let them out. That's why the Safety Act in Illinois scares me, which I think that they're moving to try to find that unconstitutional, but to let people out with no bail, no cash bond. And that goes against the Constitution because the Constitution says that there should be a bond placed if you've committed such crimes where you've hurt people. I just don't think a judge can overspeak that. Can you imagine these two crazy people getting out of jail on some loophole, something another like that? Stresses me out. So tell us, is there anything else that we need to know that is pertinent about this case? What else do we need to cover that you feel is something that we need to focus in on that we have not talked about?
I think we've pretty much covered everything. I feel like everything's been covered.
Now, you are going to stay in touch with us.
Yes, ma'am.
And let us know. Now, if anything comes about and you feel free to reach out to me. We can revisit this case and continue to, make sure that we're sharing her flyers. If you guys have social media in the chat, you can find her flyer on Facebook. Please go over and join the group for Khaleesi. And Erin is she is the group coordinator over there. And obviously they're doing wonderful things. They're having spaghetti suppers and all types of things to raise money over there. And they're having the Walk for Hope for Khaleesi, and that's going to be on May the 8th. Actually, May the 6th, right? It's the Saturday, but May
right. And then the trial is May 8th.
Right, May 8th is going to be the trial for Candi. And then in
Yes.
August, that is going to be Travis's.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're going to try to do a walk then also?
Yeah, we're going to, me and just the community, and
Okay.
it's just an idea to throw out for all of us to join together. But I would say yes, I think so.
Wonderful, wonderful. I hope that I would be able to travel up there to do that. I would love to be there to support you in this cause and support for Khaleesi.
Yes,
I pray that, I just don't know why they haven't said. I guess maybe they think they're just going to get off of the charges. So if they don't say anything, hey, Camille, if they don't say anything, then maybe they're going to be able to skip out on the charges, that maybe they think they can just lie and that they don't have any evidence. But I bet you they got something to be convinced of those charges. I feel like they probably know something. It is such a wild case. I just can't imagine what they would have done with her though. No leads. Have you heard any talk on the street about what people are saying they think happened?
Really, nobody is speaking out from the community. And I feel like there has to be more people that know what happened. And
what do you think led Candi Royer and Travis Brown to be captured in Pennsylvania? Like, if they were in Virginia, is it because they were on the run? Is that why they were in Pennsylvania?
Well, Travis was a fugitive first, and then Candi ran off with him. So I guess because he was a fugitive here in Virginia, he thought he could go to Pennsylvania and not get caught. They wouldn't know where he was.
The cameras are everywhere.
Yes.
Well, my understanding is that, Candi faked her abduction. She wasn't missing. And during the time that she allegedly was missing, her and Travis were having the time of their life doing just on a crime spree, basically. And then they did end up getting arrested in Pennsylvania, but that was largely in part due to Travis's charges.
Yeah. It just makes me curious why she would purposefully lie that she had given Khaleesi to the grandmother, the maternal grandmother, or the aunt, knowing that she didn't. That tells me that she knows something.
Yeah.
I just don't understand people and the way they think about it.
The sad part about it is Travis and Candi had a daughter that elementary school age, so a little bit older than Khaleesi, that lived in the house at the time Khaleesi was there.
Wow. Where is this child?
Well, I know when Candi went on the run with Travis, some point in time before they went off, she took her daughter to a family member and then left. But I don't know what family member or what the reasoning is they were told. But yeah, she placed her in a family member's home and left.
How bizarre.
I would be curious as to whether or not a forensic child psychologist has done an interview with that daughter.
I highly, yeah, I think, because I mean they were in pictures together on Facebook and seemed like they played good together. So they were in each other's space. So I think they bonded.
That is just, and I saw some pictures of her before she became to look in the state that she was in a year ago. And I was floored to see how different she looked. And I wanted to show that because I just don't think you can capture it unless you see it for yourself. But this is her.
Yeah.
Right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but so you've got that picture, and look, there's a picture of her. And then you've got that picture. That is a drastic change, guys.
Yes.
They look like they have been up to no good, for sure. I was just perusing the pictures and I thought, wow. Kim wants to know, could this child have been a witness to what happened?
I think it's very possible.
I certainly hope that investigators have spoke with the child.
I hope so as well.
That's right. Tips are important when evil entered. Very much so. If you see something, say something. We say that all the time. I know it seems scary and you don't know, even if it's an anonymous tip, everything helps.
And it could save a life.
Children can't defend themselves. She can't just get up and just walk out and leave. She's 3. Yeah, those pictures, the Christmas pictures.
They were horrible.
I don't know that I've seen all of them.
I think there was only like a handful. and you don't ever see her face. She's always faced away from the camera and has a toboggan on. It looks like her hair might have been falling out. She was very skinny.
Malnutrition will do that.
Yes, and had what looked to be cigarette burns on her ear and foot.
Well, Arctic's probably muted out, number one, because his cat is a monster and likes to attack and be mouthy. And number two, he's probably cussing under his breath because I know how he is. Because he'll want to put him under the jail like I do. When evil energy, it's true. It's true. And you saw the way they looked in that picture. I mean, oh, it just gives me the chills. I can't imagine. The only time that I would ever imagine hurting somebody is if they were doing something to inflict harm upon me or my child. Like, I don't think about just going out and hurting people. Like, that's just not who I am. I could never imagine hurting a child. Even my own child, much less somebody else's child. They're just, those people are not like us.
They're pure evil.
They are, and who knows what was done to them as children.
It's hard to tell.
It is. It is. You hope the two monsters have nightmares every night, Kim? Well, they'll face God one day, and they'll understand what real karma is. Bree says, my heart breaks for the mom. She left her child in care of someone she thought would take care of her. The whole story's beyond upsetting. Well, I mean, maybe she wanted to believe the best about the person that she smoked meth with and also possibly did jail time with. I mean, we want to think that people are our friends, regardless of if what we're doing is wrong or right. And sometimes we just don't know people, because if she was on drugs, she might not have been a person that was capable of making good decisions. Which is why I do feel like she holds some responsibility in this case with her daughter. No, she wasn't the iron that struck the stone, but she set the wheels in motion for this situation to be where we are today. And she has to live with that. Is that punishment enough? I don't know if I'm able to say fairly, because I don't think it is. I think that she should be charged with neglect, because she passed her kid off to somebody who murdered them. That wasn't a good decision at all. That's why they call it child neglect. Kim says, why didn't the state get involved immediately since the mother was incarcerated? CPS should have been right there and investigated the woman she gave the baby to. Maybe CPS didn't know that
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
It was my understanding, I think it was rumored that CPS helped her put Khaleesi in Candi's care temporarily.
Stop, hold the phone.
But there's no proof of that.
Oh, but there is proof at the CPS office. It's just that we don't know what it is. But they know. They know what they've done.
CPS is sweeping everything under the rug if they were involved. Now, we don't know that they were, because we don't have access to that information. But there's a lot of people saying that CPS had gotten involved in it, and they were involved in Candi being given custody of Khaleesi.
See, that right there, that would be a problematic situation for me. Because not only did the mother failed Khaleesi, but then CPS did too, and they need to be held accountable. This case is just, it really, really breaks my heart. And I just want to thank you for all that you're doing to keep Khaleesi's name out there. Erin, if you guys are not subbed up to Erin's Facebook page, Justice for Khaleesi Hope Cuthriell, please go over and join that group if you're interested in following this case and finding out all the things that they are doing there locally. And please go over and see the Walk for Hope for Khaleesi, which is also being hosted by Erin. And you can find both of those in the chat. The mods have dropped those links. And I believe they've also dropped the link for the Charlie Project, where you can go over and read about Khaleesi's case. And please share this out on your social media, but share these links out on your social media and keep her face circulating. We do have a flyer that I uploaded. Let me get over here and see if I can grab that. I think it's from the Aware Foundation, the one that I have. Khaleesi Cuthriell, which is age 3 at the time she went missing. She is 4 years old. She has blonde hair and blue eyes. She was 3 feet 1 inches tall and 40 pounds when she went missing. Last seen in February of 2021 in Waynesboro, Virginia. And that is Augusta County. Is that correct, Erin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And she was rendered into the care of Candi Royer on October 10th of 2020 by her mother, Amanda Arey. Is that how you say her last name?
I think so.
Okay. After she was arrested. So between October 2020 and January 2021, family members report seeing Khaleesi with Candi Royer, and then Royer told her family that Khaleesi was removed from her care and placed with her maternal aunt or grandmother in Covington, Virginia, which we know is not true. And apparently, Candi Royer went missing on September the 3rd of 2021, and the story just began to unfold from there. And September 13th, that's when Candi and Royer and Travis Brown were arrested over that weekend and were charged originally with that single count of felony abuse and neglect of a child. Now, Khaleesi is still missing. If you have a tip that could lead to the recovery of Khaleesi Cuthriell, please call 911 or reach out to the Augusta County Sheriff's Office immediately at 540 245 5333. If you find this flyer on Facebook or my Twitter, or Arctic's video, please share those out and let's keep Khaleesi's name out there, and hopefully her body can be recovered and brought home to be laid to rest in peace. And if you haven't already liked this video, please go over and do that for me. It helps me to get into the algorithm so that more people can see these cold cases that we have been talking about lately, so we can get their faces out there on social media. Is there anything that you would like to close out with, Erin, before we end the stream?
No, ma'am.
Arctic, do you have anything you want to add, sir?
I just want to thank Erin for being a voice for Khaleesi, because she seems to be one of the few people that is actually being a voice when her own
Yes.
family isn't out there proactively demanding to know where her remains are. So I wanted to just thank Erin very much for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
We admire what you're doing, Erin. And if there's anything that Arctic and I can do to help support in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. And we really appreciate you being here this evening to talk to us. Hey, Michelle, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hey, Toaster Oven, how you doing, sweetie? Hope you're doing good. Um, Well, guys, I think that is going to be it for this evening. I am going to go ahead and close out on the live stream. I am going to post a link in the chat because I do need Toaster Oven to take this link and come up on panel because I've got to talk to her. So that we can talk after this stream ends. So, Toaster, after I end the stream, if you'll click that StreamYard link, I'll hang out for a few minutes if you have time to come up and we can chat for a second. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go, Erin. Thank you so very much. And if you have any updates or anything that you need, please feel free to reach out to me at any time.
Yes, thank both of you so much.
You're very welcome. I hope you have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, Arctic, and thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all of your hard work. Thank you for the Amber Alert video that you posted. That was great. I hope people have gone over to Sub Up to Arctic and share that Amber Alert video out. And don't forget to go over and hit the like button and watch that video on Khaleesi. There was about 10 more minutes to that video. So you guys go over there and give him the view on that video and smash that like for him, please.
Well, thank you for having me as always. It's always a pleasure being over here.
Absolutely, Arctic. I hope that you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you around Discord.
All right. Bye.
All right. Take care. All right, guys. That's it. I'm going to wrap it up. Like I said, I'm going to be having my procedure on Monday, and I appreciate everyone that has reached out to me to send prayers and positive thoughts. Hopefully my voice won't be affected as bad as it was last time. I lost my voice for 3 days last time because of the reflux that I had. So, but that's going to be on Monday. So hopefully if I'm feeling good after my procedure and my voice is okay, I may schedule up a live stream. I want to talk about a couple of other cold cases. Joe Clyde Daniel has been brought to my attention. I had someone email me about some cases in Connecticut. If you have a case that you would like for me to talk about or have any information and you'd like to come up on my panel and talk to me about a case local in your area that you've been doing something to push forward and you would like people to know about it, just reach out to me. My email is duchessforthemissing@gmail.com. You can always send me an email or you can find me on Facebook at Dutchess Discussions. Just send me a message. Let me know that you would like for me to talk about a case. That's how people reached out to me about Tabitha Tutors. So if you have a particular case like Joe Clyde Daniel that we're going to be talking about soon, please feel free to reach out to me. And if you need a missing flyer, if there's a missing person in your area and the family that you've reached out to says they need a flyer, let me know and I'll tell you what information that I need to make that flyer, and you can just send it over to me and I'll be happy to make that up for you. It's free of charge. So I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. I'm going to jump off of here and go have dinner with my husband, my rice. I'll be so glad when I don't have to have rice anymore. And then I will catch you guys next week sometime. So you guys take care. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of stuff going on the YouTube streets. So I hope to see you guys around. And I'll catch you guys later. Bye, y'all. Today is episode 2 in Cold Cases and Unsolved in the Carolinas.